We're back for another day of PUBG Europe Contenders, but it's a little bit of a different spin on things this time around, ladies and gentlemen. We will be having our top 8 teams from both Group A and Group B fighting against each other for the first time, and this is where it gets to the real crunch time. As always, my name is James Banks, and I am one of your commentators, and you have Mr. Cormac, aka Imperium, joining me alongside to bring you all of the action from today's games. And here you have it. Now, we saw these towards the end of last week. Team MOOPHEUS, Airstation Mike, Northern Lights, Tempest, PG18, BetterLuckNxTime, ELGIGANTEN, and Jokers, all coming from Group B. And then over on the A side, Tornado, Milky Way, Last Crew, Team 3D Max, YMCA, I want to do the dance, Unity, Quick Math, and InsideGames. That gives us our top 16. But who will be on top at the end of today? And there's been some exciting changes, Cormac.
There has been a couple of exciting changes. So over on the side of Unity, ToWzErA has gone out of the team, and we have Unuktiv, previously from Avangard, has joined. And then we have Nemrith from PG18 has gone out, and Ubika has arrived in.
Some interesting changes, and just before we get to the point where it really matters as well.
No.
Now let's start with Unuktiv. This man, when he was on Avangard, he was a beast. I have no idea to the actual reasons why he got removed. Maybe he decided to go himself, for example. But when we're watching this man, he was just a heavy hitter, but also very smart to the style of what I spoke about being so common of Avangard, being on later rotations, taking their time with things, not rushing it the whole way through. And they were the kind of team where they'd consistently be within top 8 for most games. We see a few times they'd like be 16th or whatever, they get too aggressive. And that really depended on, they'd actually prefer the circle to be further away from them. That's how they like to play the style of the game, rather than be deep within it. They weren't a center team by any means of it. Now, PG18, we saw them last week, right? They looked good.
They did last day.
I'm wondering, like, did this change, was it pre-planned, despite how well they did? Like, this is the only bit I'm not too happy with. But the one thing I do like, right, with Unuktiv coming over to Unity, he joins back with Snoopy. They were both on Avangard together. So this is like bringing a duo team together to make it work. So, I don't know, maybe that'll help in some ways. Maybe that'll make the transition easier. But as always, Cormac, our points stay exactly the same.
Does not change, indeed. That golden 10 points for first place, following it down to 1 point for 8th place. And then big fat rip for 9th place downwards. And as usual, 1 point equals 1 kill.
And that is where those kills become so important over and over again. And we can't stress it enough, because we've seen teams walk away with not even taking wins, and yet will find themselves towards the top of the scoreboard based on the amount of kills they're able to get. And we saw it especially at the end of last week, where certain teams were the whole way through going, oh yeah, we're just going to get kills, 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 kills. And they were actually coming up higher on the scoreboards than what some of the teams are placing very well, because they just weren't getting the kills alongside it.
Typical example of that would be ELGIGANTEN. They got through and they did not get one chicken dinner at all. But time will tell. I'm sure they'll want to get a chicken dinner, at least one, coming into these 48 games.
Now, these are the 4 games we're going to have today. 1 to 4 is where we're starting things. The time, as always, is just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. And I know you guys can't wait to see it, but neither can I. And what excites me more about all of this side of things is, yes, this is the top 8 teams from both groups. But when it comes down to it, this is a lobby where they may have been able to look at where some of these other teams go, but all the other teams have the chance to say, okay, do we change position? Do we land in the same spot that we know other teams will? And do we challenge them? And this, to me, comes down in the first day mental confidence. What we might even see in game 1 is them contest it, and then other teams say, do you know what, it's not worth it. Because risking something even in the first couple of games is still a big deal that can affect you on the long range thing.
Yeah, because there's a couple of teams that, when I was doing a kind of bit of research into where the teams kind of landed from both groups, I saw there's a couple of places where these teams could look to clash. Most of the places were fairly okay, but the likes of Primorsk will be no problem for YMCA. It's more the fact that kind of there's a couple of teams that like to land prison / around Potato Hill area. We've seen Tempest land there a couple of times, and then of course you have Airstation Mike like to land kind of on the coast down by Farm on the coastline, and there's another couple of teams that like to land around there, which is near enough BetterLuckNxTime, and it is also I believe InsideGames as well.
So we could see some of this clashing already, and obviously we get Erangel to kick things off with here. It'll be always good to see for these teams to kind of run their way through it. Now, you just said quick. That was actually quick math, right?
Yeah,
Is
it
that what
was
you said?
quick math. Sorry, not.
That's
not
interesting
InsideGames.
because quick math before used to love being up in Severny.
Yep.
So they're changing things around a little bit there.
Well, you touch upon Severny, Milky Way and Jokers like to land in Severny as well. So there's a couple of spots. One team that I really think will handle this change very well will be ELGIGANTEN because they picked either around... they like to land between either George Paul when they had the chance to, or if they didn't, they'd land in Lipovka. So they have a couple of solid spots on their side, whereas I didn't see too much of a difference from other teams. So I'm interested to see who will kind of get the better of the spots that they like to drop in.
So funny when you look at these changes. And I just remembered, thanks to Toby as well, reminding me how this goes down. It's Ubica used to be on Tornado. That's where he came from. So his team's his old team is still in this as well. So quite an interesting one in how this all goes down. I love these opening games where we have new lobbies. It's like starting fresh all over again. And Unity, I really respect this. Let's go for the full military island. Let's have 2 players in military base and 2 players towards Nova. Why the hell not? And if you've got no one challenging you for it, that's a nice little starting spot for them to take full control of.
Of course. They're the only team that from the 16 teams in this final stage that kind of landed or tended to land in around military/Nova. So they knew they pretty much had an open season. Now, as we get through the days and through the weeks, if these teams are kind of clashing in towards the area, like look at YMCA and BetterLuckNxTime, they're heading around Ferry Pier area, and although BetterLuckNxTime are kind of splitting, we could see another team kind of say, okay, look, we're giving Unity too much space in military base, let's look to land there, so we're sharing that load, we're sharing that drop point. It would be a wise idea if a couple of these teams are kind of clashing a little bit close together. When you're talking about clashing close together, this phase 1 circle, it's heading up north way. About 60% of the teams are already inside the circle, but the majority of them are down the south side of it.
Now, this is going to be a lot of fun. Jokers have got Severny, no problems at all for them. ELGIGANTEN, when they were in Group B, had all of Georgia Pole over towards themselves. And guys, I know you can't see what I'm looking at right now, but if you want to see what I'm looking at, head over to the map stream, !map, and you'll be able to watch all of the action, all of the information, and follow some of your favorite teams in some closer detail. So, Milky Way are going for South George.
Yep.
ELGIG have gone up for North George. I really like this because ELGIG had so much space last time around. They were very comfortable with what they had in all of Georgia Pole. Now you've got to go back to being cautious. Often we don't see it in Georgia Pole where 2 fights will go and they'll like take each other on. It's generally not worth it for either side. But you do always have to be careful on where the circles pop and how the rotation goes. Now PG-18, they've gone for the Gatka play as always, no problem at all. We finally have a Primorse team in YMCA, so that will work out, right? The YMCA. And then, obviously, I really think that all of military base being to Unity will not last throughout all of these games.
No, it won't.
Someone will see this, right, and go, well, our area is a little bit contested. Let's just send everyone to Nova. Because you can put a full squad in Nova, no problem.
Easy.
Just at the moment, Unity have everything they would have wanted, and they're going to be so happy about it. Now, we were talking about PG-18. We do speak about them changing players, Nemerith swapping out and Ubica coming in.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be very interesting is what does this do for a PG-18 that was looking so hot yesterday? Thursday. My days are all melding into one. But the last day we commentated, Cormac.
Yeah.
PG-18 in the last week were just like, we figured it out. We know what we need to do. We know how we're going to do it. So I don't want to see this change affect them in a big way because otherwise, do they then start to doubt themselves? Did we make the change too swiftly? Why did we do this? Like, there's a lot of negatives that can come alongside this.
It's a little bit of a high risk, high reward when you change your roster in the middle of a phase, essentially, especially when you're coming into 3 weeks, 4-day games of a lot of action where you don't want to put yourself in the position that PG-18 were in where they had to leave it till the last day. But they're used to it, so therefore they might go, hey, look, high risk, it'll be high reward with this new player in.
Now, this is certainly where I want to see Northern Lights are on your screens now. You saw OK Bro taking a shot, some of the MOOPHEUS players rotating. I really need to see Northern Lights bring another level to this. And when I say another level is, yes, they knew they were qualified last week. Yes, they were in first place at the beginning of last week. But then they just became non-existent. A few 16th places in there, 15th places, stuff like that. they just didn't look like the same team we'd seen in previous weeks. Now, you can't make these kind of mistakes, and they're already taking shots now, trying to run away there as ToWzErA taps away at them. He will get a bit of damage onto the vehicle, but nothing more than that for now. And I just think Northern Lights now need to play their own game and bring that level we initially saw. Because if I don't see that today, I'm already going to be very scared for them at the beginning of this. And this is only match 1 out of 48.
Good thing that you highlighted as far as it's match 1 of 48. It's 3 weeks of action. These teams will just be finding their ground, finding their place in the game, having a good scope around where these teams are. Like, we're not seeing a lot of early game action, right? There's still like 63 players in the lobby. All the teams are just kind of playing their own game for now, while also scouting, getting that information, seeing how the teams react as they get close to each other, and then build up that level of information, that level of knowledge as we get through the days. Then it will start to kick off more and more.
Now, a team that we've seen many, many times throughout Contenders is 3D Max. As I say that, as the deep will actually find ToWzErA. So ToWzErA was the one that took shots at their vehicle.
Yeah.
Now he's all alone. He's about to get finished off. That's 1 point extra here now for the Northern Lights. BetterLuckNxTime getting involved, though. They've lost Fate down to a knock. He's not been killed off just yet, but Sporo very low on health there, Faultlessly. He doesn't want to go into it just yet, but he needs to protect his teammate. And this is on multiple angles as well. You can also see on the map, Kisik, he's trying to arrive in time, but is he going to be fast enough? Fake going to be owing him to make sure that he can get revived. He's hugging the wall closely. Faultlessly's the one to do it, but they still have to be so careful. Spiro's managed to get himself healed back up, and the other Northern Lights players, here they come. Perfect timing, using the rocks for cover, and I said they needed to start off strong. Well, that's exactly what they're doing. That's 2 knockdown players, and only 2 more to deal with here, but can they handle the pain?
Well, there is Arctic on top of that hill, behind a tree, popping shots off towards Deep and Perfectus. You also have, down below that, you have Kisik shooting shots in the direction of the rest of Northern Lights. It's a fact that can they do enough to try and get in the direction to try and get those heals off. I still think it's damage limitation for BetterLuckNxTime. If I were Kisik and Arctic, I'd back away from that, to be honest. Throw a couple of smokes and get out of there.
Yeah, they were desperately trying to hold on to their 2 fallen teammates. Faultlessly now the only one there. Okay, bro, can see Arctic from the side, and that's going to find him knocked down. You hung around too long, much like you were just saying there, Cormac, and now they'll pay the price for it. BetterLuckNxTime only got Kisik up and running, and they are being swarmed by the 4 players of Northern Lights. He knows exactly where they are. Spiro looking to get up close and personal. Okay, bro, already have a nade in his hand. Going to go for the long-range throw. You can see it from here. Nicely done. Does go into the building, and there's another nade coming out from the deep as well. Kisik, he's just got no chance in this. Tries to get the first aid off. It's not going to happen. And BetterLuckNxTime find themselves going down in an engagement which, okay, was at a good start at the first, right? You lost the player. You didn't mean for it to go down that way. You want to try and recover it. But there's a point where you have to learn that this is maybe too much for us to handle. And, well, this time around, they didn't.
Time is one of the biggest factors in PUBG, right? Like, time is of the essence, whether it comes to the circle, whether it comes to the blue zone, everything. But in an engagement, the longer you leave it, try and have a counterplay, to try and have those counter shots, the more time you're giving to the other team to actually flank around and find the shots off. And that's what we saw from OK Bro. He went around, he knew where Arctic was because of the information and the fact that Arctic just gave Northern Lights too much time. And it just did not go their way. Now, we did see Team Moves. They lost a member at the hands of Furax from 3D Max earlier on, while we saw Northern Lights and BetterLuckNxTime battle it out. We've also seen a knockdown come down from ELGIGANTEN. As now, with the rotations coming out, with all these teams deciding, do they want to go north of the river or south of the river? We're seeing a couple of teams kind of clashing a little bit earlier than we would have seen in previous circles.
Now, Airstation, Mike, a team we came to love for many reasons last time around. This time, though, a new lobby, a new style, new pressure being applied. What can they do? Can they keep this up? The individuals on this team, so strong. The teamwork we saw before, looking good. But to be this consistent when you're up to the 16 best teams from Contenders, hey, if they can do it, then I'll be quite happy to say there and go, these are one of the teams that could make it all the way to PEL. Get over towards that Pro League that they're all aiming for here. As the next circle pops, we continue to stay more over towards the west and the northern side of it all. Most of water has been excluded now. It's not the end of the world where we're currently sat. And it looks like most teams have gambled quite correctly on this. Northern Lights, obviously they were fighting. They'll take a little bit longer for them to come across on the rotation round. But it's this side from Stalbert onwards going off towards Severny. It's going to get quite clustered. You've got Tempest there, you've got Tornado, you've got InsideGames, and all of these teams are going to be fighting for similar spots, but who's going to get there fast? And also Jokers, who are the Severny team, coming in close.
Yeah, and I think every team will be actually happy with how that phase 2 circle went, because even with the teams that were located down south, when the river is involved in splitting up the circle, nobody's ever really happy about that, especially when it's left later and later into the game where there's phase 3 or phase 4 circle, whether it goes north or south. So right now, I'd say most of these teams are damn happy. They're still just going to try and rotate, find that better spot. Severny, as you correctly point out, is going to be hotly contested for now, with InsideGames holding on to it, but Tornado Energy have the edge. And of course, Tempest are to the west of InsideGames.
And going all the way over towards the west, we've got YMCA. They're the next team they're going to try and make their way in. But they've got more space than most teams. They don't have to rush into it. It's the deep. It's going to find some of the team unique players, or Unity players even. Good nade coming down there. That's going to knock Snoopy down. Quizzy, he tried to do the run away. Didn't realize how close that nade's going to get. A second nade coming out. Quizzy, you got to be careful, mate. More nades going off. That car is still somehow standing. And Deep, he's got nades for days. Quizzy, no, not like this. You just tried to save your friend. It's not worked out. You both die, and the car blows up. 5 kills for the Deep already. The Northern Lights truly starting things off strong here.
5 kills already in less than 11 minutes. That's a good turnaround in this first game, but they need to make it continue. It's a long way to go in the final stage. However, to start things off strongly in that regard is never a bad thing.
Maybe this is just Northern Lights' game plan, right? Start off really strong, get enough points, and then just slow it down and say, you know what, we're pretty happy with this.
Yeah, but there's less room for forgiveness because they're going up against the top 8 teams from Group A. And if you take that attitude, it might work for so long, but I'm pretty sure you're going to get more heavily punished.
No, I might kind of back. Do you know when we discussed it on the previous week? The Northern Lights maybe just said they wanted to save up a little bit more because the difference is the exact positions you make this time around make a big deal towards money, towards where you go to that promo spot, all that kind of thing. But for the previous one, it didn't matter if they were first, second, or whatever.
Fair.
Because they knew they were just going into this lobby regardless. So could be a big change for these guys coming into it. Now, Tornado, these were a team that impressed me last phase. They've looked hot once again this time around. Let's see what they can do now. They're just outside Severny, as you guys just saw. They're just north of where shooting range is. And they're looking to just hold this position. They don't seem to be actively moving around too much. They feel comfortable where they are, and they're just going to wait it out for this next circle to spot. So I think for a lot of these teams, it's just quite the waiting game for now, because everyone seems to have found their own part of the map here.
We see 1 or 2 teams around shooting range area. Jokers, ELGIGANTEN. Then down from the south of that, you have 3D Max, who've looked strong in the phase 3 so far. Furax, he was a new member that joined from Seagorg, and he really did impress things, especially as the games went on and as the days went on in Group A. He really started to ramp things up and get more in the kill feed, find a better level of synergy and aggression. But this phase 3 circle, it's actually gone back down south. Orange pays the price.
Oh, wow. What a trade out like that.
Yep.
You saw him spray at the car as well. Plenty of damage done. Northern Lights, they really need to keep Spiro going. Anuctive playing the long range game here, and he's going to drive down, try and get involved in this. But OK Bro's already pulling up, and that's the scary part, right? How much do they really want to commit to this? Again, yes, Orange is on the floor. Yes, there's more damage now being done from Anuctive. He's still playing it long range here. He's got the 6 times to use to his advantage. But as all the rest of these Northern Lights players come up, what is Unity doing? Where are the rest of Unity?
Plus, now with Orange out, Anuctive, who's a new member, is the only one that's left standing. Can he start to make a play? Can he be impressive in this game?
Oh, yeah, I completely forgot. It was Snoopy and Quizzy got destroyed by the car. So this is just a fight that's continued.
Yep.
My God. This is that Northern Lights. They are really going for it right now. And Anuctive, he is completely solo. I didn't even realize. My God. Okay, so Northern Lights can just push forward, and Anuctive's now taking shots to it as well. He's not scared. He's still going for it. I respect it, but maybe try and play at least for some sort of placement points within this.
Talk about playing for placement points. 4 members of InsideGames in one house. I know it's on the edge of the circle, but I can't help but think maybe it would be better if you have the vehicles around you to get a bit of a 2-and-2 split, or just move into different buildings to try and find that better split, because it's just a bit too much of a risk in my eyes. Even though there's no team directly around them now, depending on how the circle shifts in phase 4, if it shifts up northwards, you could see a couple of teams head in their direction.
Unity do finally go down and Nuctive. He's picked apart by PG18's The Wanderer. It's not the start Unity would have wanted here whatsoever. But remember, there's still plenty of games to play for in this one. They met up with Northern Lights, and they seem to just be chasing each other around the map after that. And eventually he would fall short and run into the PGA team boys, which means, at least for Northern Lights, they'll see that go off and go, okay, we can understand how this may pan out. They know where Unity went. Can they use it to their advantage at all? This Hugstar is going to get knocked down, but is he going to be killed off? Time will tell. The Airstation Mike, they found themselves caught between ELGIG, Jokers, Quick Math, and Hugstar was the only one that was further away there. He's got his teammate closer to him, but do they now call for the backup? The 2-2 split may not pay off for these guys.
I think they're going to wait and base it on that phase 4 shift and where it heads to. They'll definitely want to join back as a 4-man team. No point in peeking and taking too much damage from that point of view. And it shifted westwards. My God, what a shift for phase 4. A lot of teams are still inside the circle, but there's nobody in kind of the center of it, right? They're all around the edge. Kind of on the, they're all on the edge of the circle, actually. Crazy.
And you can see Hugstar's moving. He's brought back up. Limited compounds within this as well.
Yeah.
They're all already taken.
3 teams around shooting range. Jokers, InsideGames, Tornado Energy.
Oh, Example spotted this out. Odstrelovac, he needs to be careful here. Example's not going to take the shots onto him just yet. Maybe waits. Oh, takes a few. Damage being done. You can see it. Melman was there as well. So they went for the timing. Couldn't find themselves getting any knocks, but can they do it onto the Joker's players? Everyone on these difficult rotations in, and he's flying through the sky, but he's not going to get plucked out of it just yet. Bullets come in towards him, but he stays alive. Tornado have to be careful, though, because
they do.
Yes, you've got a lot of space up here towards the north outside of the circle, but pushing in, all of this space is slowly being taken. So do you opt to go for a hard rotation? Do you opt to maybe drop down south or something? Or do you fight with what you know? Because they're looking at InsideGames, but they don't seem to have the confidence just yet to push upon it. And Compop throws out these nades, but it's not going to get close enough to connect.
The second they go head down south, they're heading towards ELGIGANTEN, though, so that's something they have to be very careful of. And I think they might be a little bit aware of that, to be honest. I'm surprised that they weren't getting more punished from shooting shots in the open direction towards Odstrelovac and Joker set. So, but right now we're in the position, I actually really like it. They're spread out nicely. They have the edge of the circle. They can hide behind those rocks and just allow the rest of the teams to at least engage on each other, and then they can possibly pick up the pieces. We know what Tornado Energy can do. There's a reason why they top the points leaderboard between both groups together. They got those 4 chicken dinners in Group A. They're going to be confident either way.
Now, Tornado, they didn't want to push too far just yet. We stay looking at what they're trying to do here. Solar's going to watch a load of them run straight in. The cars go boom. Some players are still alive, but they don't know where to look, and it's Airstation Mike getting picked apart as they try to rotate their way in. They were coming from outside the circle. They knew they had to send it, but they sent it straight into the grasp of 3D Max, who take big advantage of that one.
That wasn't even a full 3D Max squad either. That was really an advantage for Airstation Mike, and it all went horribly wrong for them in this game 1.
Tornado getting in vehicles and just going to get the hell out of there. I respect it. They don't want to stand around.
Yeah.
They were in the middle of 2 teams. They understood that, okay, we're going to probably struggle to get to a better position, so let's try and make this work. They've kept all 4 alive for now. Example, the last one to get out of the cars. There's no nades from other teams coming towards them just yet. Only their own smoke. And is this how they challenge InsideGames?
Yes and no, because what that's actually allowed, if you notice, was that Marcelek, I believe it was, actually got knocked down by one member of InsideGames. So by them kind of getting in between, they've actually allowed InsideGames to see ELGIGANTEN and vice versa, which means there's a higher chance that they'll turn their attention onto each other and leave Tornado Energy alone, but not before Jokers are going to throw those grenades out. Will they connect?
That's the thing. They may avoid another fight, but they walk straight into the second one here. This is Jokers now looking directly at them. The smokes are down There's enough coverage that you can, yeah, there you go. You can just jump down and make sure you're covered off a bit more. It's whether any of the teams on the high ground, they can obviously spot you out a bit easier. seniks taking some serious damage as well, but I can't work out if that's going to be from Tornado or ELGIGANTEN at this point.
Now, we did see this phase 5 shift. It went actually down south away from shooting range, so there's no compound. It's all open, but there's a lot of hills. There's a lot of peaks that these teams can kind of cover behind. Position. Actually, sorry, there's one compound which is held by Team MOOPHEUS. But now, RNG connects onto seniks.
Leah getting it in, getting it done. Comp up with the finish off. The InsideGames players now under pressure. Tornado, they waited it out. They rotated around them. And now they're going to do all the damage as well. Compot, that was a beautiful headshot landed throughout the spray. He's not done with it yet, and he knows he doesn't want to lose these kills to ELGIG, but Marcelek, he wants to get involved. He manages to take down Odstrelovac, and now there's only Zampeek left alive. He's trying to fire back against them, but he needs to get those reloads in. He may have an 8 times, but so many players know where he is. 3D Max, though, they're getting involved, and at the same time, Zampeek, he wasn't checking the blue. Now he needs to move forward, and he's just going to run into more players shooting at him.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Compot's right there. Compot's right there. They don't see each other
through the smoke. Compot does some damage. Oh, no! How did that happen? Compot, you had it. InsideGames go down regardless, but the rest of Tornado now need to get the hell out of there. That blue is moving fast, and it will do a good amount of damage. And that nade, if that knocks anyone, that's going to be huge.
Well, that's the thing. Both those teams realize they just have to go against each other. As MOORPHEUS gets taken out, ELGIGANTEN are eliminated in 12th place. Tornado, RNG, and Jokers are going at each other in the blue.
Fighting in the blue is never ideal, especially when it's doing this much damage. See Tornado trying to move forward and get the hell out of there. TheTab, he's lost all of his teammates. He's taking heavy damage now, and he knows that I'm just going to look to do as much as possible. Melman, not quite sure where he's being shot at from just yet. Example and Leia have been picked off by 3D Max, who continue to rack up more kills here as they've worked their way up towards the north. Jokers finally go down, but they'll only grab themselves an 11th place here. Despite having a pretty okay position to fight from within the shooting range, they were all there just far too long fighting with each other.
Yeah. Like, you can't, the biggest winner between ELGIG, InsideGames, and Jokers was Tornado Energy. They just outplayed every single one of those teams just based on repositioning themselves.
But you say the biggest winner. That's still not even that good because Melman's the only one left alive, right?
True.
You've lost 3 players from all of that. You've not really gained anything. It looks like Tempest will struggle to gain anything as well as the Milky Way team. They're getting involved. Mans laying it down. It's got iZoom there to help him out as well. They're not going to go for the finish-offs just yet. They're trying to bait out some more of these Tempest players. Now, we can see Clib's behind the tree using the X-Array, but Clib, that's a man that can land some nasty shots. So Milky Way do have to be cautious. Oh, it didn't work. Melman comes from behind and takes down Clib. Oh, no, that's not what they would have wanted. 10th place coming out there. And, well, Milky Way will be saying, well, okay, we don't have to look someone else. Melman's already being taken shots at by iZoom.
And Phantom as well on the side note. So he's doing his best to survive. Solar from 3D Max is going to be taken out, leaving 3D Max in outside the circle with 3 members strong. There's also last crew down to the south of them. The uphill advantage goes over to Furax and the rest of the 3D Max team, but with the grenades being flying out, pushing 3D Max away, that gives last crew a bit more of a chance to get into the circle. But Melman gets eliminated. Tornado Energy get eliminated down to 9th place. But a good run for them in game 1. A couple of kills. I won't be too disappointed, but I know they won't be happy.
For Tornado, they worked so hard for that. They played the rotations as smart as they could, but end of the day, they were fighting an uphill battle quite literally. Northern Lights still in it with 4 players, looking strong. And hello, Digger. You obviously know he's here.
Come on.
You got a pan, mate. Pan him. Do it. I dare you.
There you go. There you go. What?
No, it's tricky. So he's waiting until there's at least a second player potentially, or that he knows it's time to go. He's only got him and Encelenso here. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
What? DB is so zoomed in, he's just looking over Digger. Digger is ready to take those shots, but he wants to do this when it counts the most.
See, he's allowing somebody else to do the damage. All the while, we must point out that Milky Way are popping off against last crew. Rip is getting taken out. Only Muck is left standing. Knocking 3D Max, they're outside the circle trying to find their way in while taking shots from Milky Way.
Well, the thing is, 3D Max are up at 10 plus kills now. They've been doing very well, but it's not meant to be. When you're trying to get out of the zone, you're... Oh, he got that stolen away! Mookie!
No way!
iZoom. stealing a kill and loving life. The Milky Way boys, they are firing on all cylinders right now. They want all of the kills they can pick up. Last crew go down. It's the Moops able to get that final kill in. They'll grab an 8th place, which is respectable enough, right? You get 1 placement point for it. It's not the end of the world.
Yet Diggory is still in the middle of Milky Way. It's unbelievable how calm and calculated he's trying to be.
So he's Diggory. I was going to say Digger once. I've just been saying Digger.
No,
okay.
It's Diggory.
Diggory, cool. Is he Australian? That sounds like a Diggory. Diggory-doo. You never know. 3D Max don't make it inside the circle, though. They're going to be going out in 7th place. 10+ kills they would have got, though, so still very respectable. We spoke about how important these kills can be.
Yep.
PG18, though, looking to try and challenge Moops here in their compound. And remember, this compound is now outside the circle as well.
Yep.
You're fighting for dead space, PG18, so you've got to deal with this fast and get in and try and pick up all these remaining pieces you want.
Well, Double's being knocked down, so now is the time to push. Now is the time to get that squad right and breach those compounds and then get into the circle, because they take Team Moops away. They're creating more space to get in there as a grenade is flown out by Recurrent. Does not quite connect, and now with the cavalry arrived behind, they're going to go up the stairs into the room. Can they get the shots off? Close the door.
A little bit too slow from PG18. Yeah. They're wanting to be very cautious here. Yubica manages to take down Reggie, though. This is the start they wanted. That's another knock coming in. Gadoran, he can't do anything from his position. He knows he's outnumbered and outgunned if he wants to push into it. He's got to rely on the skill of his teammates. Recrent just shooting out through the smoke. Double is still up and running somehow, doing a lot of damage here. How is Double allowed to get away with this? Guys, what are you doing? Where's the communication coming in, PG18? You should not be in this situation. You are in such a great spot.
Is it? You said it, though. It's because they left it too long. They waited too long to push in, and they gave Team Moops too much of a space. But that's going to see them eliminated. Dies and Recurrent coming in and getting the final blow onto Team Moops. But now they've got to get into the circle. All the while, YMCA are eliminated at the hands of Milky Way on the east side of that circle.
Milky Way, quick math, Northern Lights, PG18. Milky Way with 4 players up still in it. Quick math only with 2. The Deep now picks up 5 kills of his own. Northern Lights seem to be fragging out like crazy in match 1 here. This is the final stage of phase 3. This is what it all comes down to. An off-string, he may like the off-spring, but he's not going to get any more springs in his step for the players he's firing at, because the Wanderer goes down. It's a nice, easy one for him to pick off. But Northern Lights, okay, bro. He says, I'll take some of these kills away from you if I can at the same time. So PG18 being focused down from 2 directions here.
Dies is trying to return fire towards OK Bro to push that away. Recurrent won't get revived, though. That's going to be a matter of seconds before he's going to see himself taken out. But the good thing for PG18 is that with that circle shift going up northwards, Dies is still in the circle. 4 teams, 9 players, all of Northern Lights. That Spire, Deep, OK Bro, who is knocked down, are outside the circle. They're the only team that are outside.
Now, I don't know about Dies, because I don't know a player called that. But D's, as we've been told by our Russian friends.
Oh, yeah, D's.
We sat down with the Russian commentators.
D's, okay, D's, Dies, D's. Oh, sorry.
D's is still alive. 15 kills now up for the Milky Way. That is the way you want to get it done. D's is going to try and bide himself as much time as possible if he can nab that 3rd place. His team did manage 5 kills. But what else can he get done? Diggory finds DP. He's been there for so long.
No way.
They're going to sit there and say, what the hell? How has he been there? How have we allowed that to happen? Quick Math may go out in 4th, but for the fact he was even able to get a kill, I respect it. Why not?
Of course. Of course. But now that has given Spyro and Deep a chance to get into circle, because you could say there's a certain level of distraction that came out that turned Milky Way's attention towards the north side where Diggory was located.
D's could do exactly what just happened as well. 16 kills up for the Milky Way boys at the moment. Has any of them got the hat?
What I love is that it's spread out as well, like 6 for DP, 4 for Ostring, 4 for iZoom, and 2 for Mand. It's so well spread out.
They are on the hunt. Molotov going to be used behind the tree. And they know, because there's limited cover. They're either completely snaked or they're hiding behind something. Now, if you're D's, you don't have to go anywhere, but soon enough, they are going to be ready and waiting. They spot him out. Offstring gets the job done. PG18 with respectable 3rd place with the new lineup, might I add to it. And now they're going to come onto the Northern Light. But Spiro, he's not done yet, and he's trying to even up the numbers. He's trying to make this work. Nade going up, and that could get very close to Mans here. Can he turn it around? Nade doesn't do too much damage. Doesn't do any damage, might I add. iZoom still looking for him, and you've just got to be so careful. Snakes in the grass, they are everywhere. He's still got a Molotov he can use here. Mans is so smart. He's staying towards the center while I zoom. He goes around the edge. This means that they have full control here, and Northern Lights will just eventually play into their hands, which means Northern Lights has to land these crazy shots now. And look at how he's playing it so carefully. Ever so slowly, moves over to the right a little bit further here. Mans holding the middle position, looking for anyone to come his way. It's all about who can get off these first connecting shots. As the deep, he throws out a grenade. It's not going to connect with anyone just yet. He's also got the Molotov to use, but iZoom has one of his own, and plenty of smokes at the same time.
I gotta give credit to Spyro as well, who's flanked around to the kind of northwest side as well of this final. Circle gone closer to Mans. iZoom, can he spot deep out? He does indeed. The first knockdown comes out. That's going to be kill confirmed in a matter of seconds, leaving Spyro on his own in amongst the smoke. What can he do? He's being pinched from both angles. It's going to be tough.
Spiro, if you can pull this off, that'll be the god clutch play. Spiro finds himself getting the first knock. iZoom going down, and he will get finished off instantly. Now it's all up to Mans. Solo player now for his team in a 1v1. Goes behind the tree for cover, and rightly so. He's got no utility, but he spots out Spiro. The first bit of spray down done. Continues to try and tap away. He does actually hit the shots, but he's not confident in his own positioning of where he's spraying through now. Spiro, all the pressure on him, but he knows exactly where Mans is.
What an end to the first game of the final stage. This is absolutely crazy. Down to a 1v1 in the final phase. Less than a minute before it closes in fully. Mans
has got to show me how he gets down in these 1v1s. He's had only 2 kills out of the rest of his team. Spiro shooting onto him, and he gets it. The shots connect. The job is done. 19 kills and a win. And what a way to kick things off here for game 1 on Erangel. Milky Way looking super solid and strong.
Oh, man. Not just them. Northern Lights.
Yeah.
Even Tornado Energy, as much as they kind of, but the fact that they took that into their control reposition, and 3D Max as well. I believe you said they got at least 10 kills as well. So good few of these teams really kind of starting to show what they have in the final stage. This is only game 1 of 48 games.
All about that crazy fragging potential, might I add. Now, you got to say, Northern Lights, I was worried about them. They showed me, thanks, don't worry. We're cool. We got this still. We're confident. I'm like, all right, boys, that's fine. Just don't give me a heart attack, you know. It's not something I need at my age. It's not always the most beneficial thing.
Jesus Christ, you're not that old, mate. You're not that old.
So 3D Max did end up with 7th place and 10 kills. That's going to be an 11-point game for them. That's pretty good, all things considered. Considering they went down, they were also fighting outside of the circle. They were dealing with many teams back and forward for quite a long time. This bit around shooting range was just chaos from start to finish.
And this is why I said like Tornado Energy were the winner of that, because they made the initial play to reposition more forward. Okay, not only did they find that level of protection, and they did get the shots off towards both InsideGames and ELGIGANTEN, but when it came to the blue zone pinching in, who did it go against? It went against InsideGames, and at that point ELGIGANTEN had already been eliminated. Therefore, and it also even went against Jokers.
Yeah.
So really, that's why like sometimes you got to take a chance to reposition yourself and take the game into your own hands.
Well, it was exactly like what we were talking about, mate. When it came to the fact that some teams will fight from a certain point onwards, right? Maybe 11 teams left, 12 teams left, something like that. Where other teams, they'll quite happily fight early. Now, Northern Lights fought the whole way through, but they also rotated in a less dangerous position.
Yes.
All those teams that came over and went up north and went from the east towards the west, over towards Severny, they all ended up, because of where the circle went, getting caught in a similar spot.
Yep.
Sometimes you have to make a decision as an in-game leader and say, all right, we're going to go for a long rotation.
Exactly.
We'll take some circle damage if needed, because I don't want to deal with all of this, because eventually you don't all win. Like, none of those teams that were there, were even close to it, were in the top 3.
Nope, not at all. Like Milky Way, they just kept nice and easy, just always popping shots off. We weren't even talking about them that much, right? But they were still getting the shots off when they needed to. Now we have the results of this game 1 of the day. 4 teams getting 0 points. Better Luck Next Time, Unity, Airstation, Mike, and Jokers. And then we see the points climbing up with InsideGames, ELGIG, Tempest, and Last Crew getting 1-1, 2-2 respectively.
Tornado, no placement points. They went out in 9th place, but still 5 kills. They're going to be very happy with that. Moop's up there with 2 kills as well. They got 2 placement points alongside it. YMCA didn't get any kills. That's the scary part, right? You at least have to be trying to get those kills in there, but still a respectable 3 placement points.
40 kills between the top 3 teams. If that's not top heavy, I don't know what is.
Thing is, Milky Way, this for them is a start where you don't just get mad confident from it, but you feel like at least today you've hit all your shots for game 1. The best thing is when you have a big game like that with 19 kills, when it's the opening game. I've seen it many times where it's like the 3rd or 4th game of the day.
True.
You see them tomorrow, and they still play well, but there's certain days, and we all know it from when we play games ourselves, right, where you just feel like you got 0 lag, everything's blessed, you're hitting, you know, like when you aim and you line it up, and then, dead. You like every shot's just on point. Sometimes you get that feeling and you're in the groove. Them having that now, if they come into this next game with a similar style, my God, like other teams should be incredibly scared. And just look at the difference here between them and Northern Lights.
But again, respect to Northern Lights. They were in action right from the word go.
Yep.
They were in a lot of fights and they survived. They pushed on through.
They slowed down though so much.
Yes,
so they
true.
took on the first 2 squads where they did very well. And then they were at 10 kills. What did we say? They were at 5 kills at 10 minutes, and they were at 10 kills before we even hit the 20-minute mark.
Yep.
And then from that point onwards, where the bigger fights happened, they stayed down towards the southwest, and it just started. And there's nothing wrong with it, right? Because they played to get a second place alongside it. But they then realized that, okay, we've shot a lot, we've lost a lot of utility. If we keep fighting like this, it's probably ain't going to work out.
And they nearly got it.
Exactly. It went to a 1v1. And Mr. Spiro here, credit to him, because you took damage, you were under pressure, you didn't walk into any crazy shots coming out anywhere, and you still tried to hold on. The fact that you even managed to get 1 kill, that's the only thing I'd criticize on Milky Way there. Great positioning, loved how they controlled the circle, having mans towards the center spot, the other player working his way around the side. But my only criticism is when one player goes in for a fight and you watch your teammate go down, that is where you have to react, right? And get the refrag. And it doesn't have to be a refrag that ends up with a kill. It has to be a refrag with at least ends up with extra damage, or you know his exact position. Because the scary point was when Milky Way was sat there and went, well, I'm not 100% sure where he's prone now. And that's the point where it could have gone either way. And it should never, when you have such an advantage, even get to that.
Spiro shouldn't have survived that initially, but at the end of the day, still went Milky Way's way, and they get the first chicken dinner.
Credit to him. Guys, we're going to a break as always, but we have 3 more solid games to come your way. And if this one was anything to live by, my God, you won't want to miss out on the rest of them. We'll see you guys in just a few.